Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lamide and I'm the host of Adulting is the Ghetto, and we're back with another episode with my good friend
Desola.
Yes.
Hi.
Hey. And today we'll be speaking about Desola, her life, her journey, and just about living life on your own terms.
The future is now.
We're gonna start with an icebreaker.
Sure.
How good is your general knowledge?
It's okay.
It's
To be fair, I had to do like the life in UK test to like get my passport. So UK knowledge is
okay. This is
good.
world. But
Right. Okay.
So we're just gonna do like the name of like. I just want you to name the capital of some countries.
Okay.
So I think it's okay. I've done 10. Let's see how much you can get, and you have to do that. It's quick.
Okay.
So we might not get through all 10, but we'll see. I trust your skills. Okay. What's the capital of Finland?
I don't know.
Think. So did you do history?
I did.
So what was like a
Finland.
It starts with H.
Oh, Helsinki.
Yeah,
Okay.
That was like history.
Okay.
Capital of Hungary.
Budapest.
Yes.
Okay.
Capital of Canada.
Ontario. Toronto. Jesus. It's not Quebec.
No. It's not.
Capital of Canada.
Yes. Another major one. So
It's not Ontario.
No.
Oh.
But it starts with O as well.
Oh, I know. Oh my gosh, I forgot.
I'm really giving you
I forgot what
clues
it's
here.
called. I know. I forgot what it's called. It's no, I don't remember.
It's Ottawa.
Ottawa.
Yeah. Capital of Costa Rica.
Is that Puerto Rico? No, that's a country. Capital.
Yeah, Costa Rica is a different country.
Um,
Costa Rica is like one of those.
San Juan.
Close. Another.
Wow, it's so bad.
Another J.
Lamide, you've used this to expose my bad knowledge.
No, I really thought you'd be good at
no, baby girl, no.
I literally was writing, I was like, this girl's gonna get all. That's why I was like, let me do 10 because I was gonna do 5. I was like, no, she's gonna get it. It's San Jose.
Okay, San Jose.
Ethiopia.
Okay.
You know
I
this
know
one.
I actually know this one. God. What is the capital? Oh my god. I know this, but honestly, I forgot right now. Capital of Ethiopia. Addis Ababa.
Yes, thank you.
That's it.
Guyana?
Guyana.
Guyana.
I don't know. Guyana.
Okay. Sierra Leone. Oh, so Guyana is Georgetown.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sierra Leone.
No.
Yeah.
Free town.
Yes.
Okay.
India.
Mumbai.
No.
New Delhi.
Yes. South Korea.
Seoul.
Yes, thank you. And Malaysia. I think you know it. I do think
Malaysia. It's not Malaysia. There's one that's like.
It's not that one.
No,
Like, this is, yeah.
Give me clues.
Starts with K. And it's like 2 words.
No.
Okay, it's Kuala Lumpur.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So out of that, I don't even know how many we can give you.
You should have done African countries.
Girl, it took you a while to get everything. Girl. Turns out this one isn't as good as general knowledge. I was like, well, countries could be better for other things, who knows. But could you just start by introducing yourself? Who are you?
Sure. So my name is Desola Oshasami. That's my last name. Who am I? That is a very big question.
I'm a philosopher. What can I say?
I think I'm like a dreamer. I have like a lot of big dreams, and I'm very like ambitious. And I think because of that, it's very hard to define myself as like one thing or like pin myself to one thing specifically. But yeah, realistically though, like I'm a Nigerian. I work at a startup. Like that's who I am on my day to day. But like,
she's a fashionista, like the best. She designs her own like things.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I've done all sorts of things. I used to run a magazine called Multifaceted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did it because like I thought it described myself a lot, because I just feel like I have so many different interests, and sometimes I feel like you're supposed to be known as like this one thing, and everyone's like, yeah, specialized, and I was like, no, I actually multifaceted. So I started like a magazine where I would like interview people. I had a friend that was like an investment banker but an artist at the same time, and just things like that. So to be honest, if I was to describe myself in one word, multifaceted.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's a good word.
And why did you start the magazine out of curiosity?
Oh my gosh, I got so bogged down with like Instagram likes and like the algorithm, and I used that as my measure of success.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I'm only getting 21 likes. This is so embarrassing.
This is
embarrassing. Which is like ridiculous, because what you need is consistency, and like you shouldn't really be doing it for the likes.
So Desola, the multifaceted fashionista. I think you kind of mentioned that, even like touching on your magazine Multifaceted, but how would you describe your adulting journey in like one word?
Bruh. It's been a learning curve. Like honestly, it's been a learning curve. I thought, I knew everything, because so basically, like I said, I'm Nigerian, right? And I went to school in England, and my one goal was like, I cannot leave this country until I get a passport.
Okay.
So I'm gonna secure. Maybe. Luckily, I had done like 8 years, because I went when I was 14.
Okay.
So when I was graduating, I was like 22. So I was like, I have 2 more years. Like I cannot waste this. I need to secure like a bank internship. Someone needs to.
Why is it always banking for you?
Because they're the only ones that sponsor.
It's true. It's
Literally,
true.
so I was like, I need to get someone to sponsor my my visa, which to be honest was like a big conflict for me, because I studied economics and I really wanted to do like development work, but the development institutions don't sponsor.
Yeah, and even in terms of like salary and pay and stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't even thinking that, but yeah, like so yeah, I was just like, let me just do something to make sure I stay and get my passport. So I did banking. I did like, I wasn't like the traditional like investment banker type of thing. I did like digital product management type of stuff.
Fair.
Which at the time, like now it's cool, but when I first started doing it, everyone's like, what's that?
Yeah.
Like, why are you not?
Why not banking?
Yeah, exactly.
Why must you be the one that does something?
Dude, like even people in the bank, like there was like a ranking of interns, like the digital guys out there, and then like investment banking.
So snobby, and they're like, I don't know how you even did it. Yeah.
Now everyone's trying to pivot.
It's into the tech.
It's ridiculous. So I did that, and that was like the first time where like I had like financial independence. Like, I was living in London, I was renting in London, I was living with my friends, I was going out every night. Nonsense.
So you came home, shut your back down.
I was like, after the first year where, I realized, wow, I don't have any savings, like, wow,
it took you a year to realize that, girl.
It took me, I was like, wow, I'm like, what am I living for exactly?
Yeah.
Because you just think that freedom is like, that's everything you need. But I was like, okay, I need to slow down and really think like, what am I living my life for? What are the things I want to do? So when I did that, I was like, okay, I care about development. I care about Africa. I care about like improving people's lives.
Yeah.
So whilst I was working at the bank, I started this like micro masters. It was like an online masters program.
Okay.
Basically it was in like development, economics and data analysis, and it was with MIT, and my plan was, okay, I'm gonna basically, the micromasters was like a pathway to a full MSc with them. Okay. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna bog down and like get this done, and then like leave this bank and go to MIT and like work at the World Bank.
Yeah, it's
and
always
do
World Bank. Or who?
It's always
like one of those ones, the UN.
Yeah, or UN or something. I was like, this is my life plan. Like I have everything figured out to a T. So I did that, like slaved away to do well at the course and everything. Got the grades, applied, and MIT was like, sorry. what's so funny is when I got that rejection, I was also applying for a job at like a development consultancy. So I was like, I'm just gonna pivot my whole life, all of that stuff, and I got the rejection to both things at the same time.
It's like, if you hate it, just let me know. Like, you couldn't even try. At least let me start working for.
Do you know what? For me, it was even like, God, what is going on? Like
I thought we had an agreement.
Honestly, I thought we had an agreement, and like this was like a year after I had really like rediscovered like my faith for myself. Like it was a year after I started going to Liberty, like Liberty Church, and you know, I got so immersed, and I finally started to understand like, okay, this is like how I need to live my life. This is like, God loves me so much, all of that stuff, you know, faith. So I went through all of that for a year. I applied with faith, fasted, gave sacrificial giving.
It's the sacrifice. I need to continue that. I said, wow, God, if you do this, I'll build your church.
You know, which is so funny, because sometimes you think, okay, I'll do this, and then I'll get this in return. And God was just like, no. Like,
you're still gonna have to do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I have better waiting for you. Like, honestly, I cannot tell you how much my life has just transformed and is like a huge testimony. And I know it's because of that one act that I did, that God is just blesses me with so much. But yeah, where was I? I was telling my story. Yeah, I got rejected from MIT. And then my dad was like, okay, but does that mean I'm not going to do a master's program anymore? Because for me, I was like, that's it. And he was like, there are other schools. So then I then started looking, and I was like, okay, let me see what else is out there. Then I found Oxford, and I was like, okay, like, this makes sense. At first, I wanted to do the development course at Oxford. And I realized that was 2 years, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do 2 years. But funny enough, I ended up applying for the 1+1, which is also 2 years.
So it's like you do 1 year in whatever course you want, and then another year doing the MBA.
Yeah, exactly. So like a 1 year MSc and then an MBA. So I picked African Studies because during COVID and everything, like I was
was your degree African Studies?
Yes,
I thought your degree was fashion. I was like, I don't even know that Oxford did fashion.
Yeah.
Specialized
exactly.
In that. Okay.
So I just specialized my research in like production practices in Nigeria's fashion industry.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. And the way it stemmed was before I applied, because like my whole application letter was about like doing that for my dissertation. And for me, I just kind of took a step back, and I was like, okay, I care about development. Why? Because I care about improving people's lives. What else do I care about? Fashion. And I just started to do a lot of research into like how the two things like interconnect, and just like also how culturally important like clothing production is, like textiles in Nigeria, adire, all of that stuff. So yeah, I just found a way to sort of connect it and realize like, if we can improve the production practices of this thing and like actually make it local, then you know we can benefit a lot of people's lives. So I did that, got into the program, was studying it, like really enjoyed it, and then just had like a massive segue away from that, which I'm sure we'll get into. But yeah, that's like, for me, I think the question was, how do I describe adulthood? Yeah, for me, it's just like learning curves and just pivoting. Like you just never know where you're going to end up, and you never feel like, oh, I've arrived. Like you just don't know what else is going to like draw you in, or what disappointment you might go through.
And that will just change the way you like perceive life.
Yeah,
basically. Well, that's really good, and that leads so well into our next question, which was like the different life stages of like the adulthood journey. Because and like the key decisions you made and key lessons, essentially. I know you started in finance and then went to like even doing like digital tech and then masters and then did like fashion as well, and even your magazine. So there's just quite a lot of
phases
in your adulting journey that we would like to touch on.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so first stage of adulting, I see that as like leaving uni, as doing like my grad program at the bank, And you know, that was interesting because, like I said, I was doing something I actually didn't want to do. I was put in like the digital space, but then I started to learn, okay, this is how you build an app. This is like, you know, this is like how you get digital products off the ground and all of that, which is like completely invaluable today. So that was really cool. But whilst I was doing that, I actually started taking like sewing classes.
That's cool. Oh, amazing.
No, but I started taking these sewing classes. I went for one, and the lady was like, "You need to stop. Like, you're not good." Like, what? She was like, "I don't think sewing is for you. Like, you're really bad."
There's only one lesson. She didn't give you a chance. She didn't give you a chance.
I was like, okay, thanks. So then I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this fashion thing, then obviously like it's not by my hand.
Yeah.
So I then started like, okay, I was like, okay, I want to like start a denim company and everything. Yeah.
So just quickly, like, have you always been interested in fashion? Where did that stem from? And like,
yeah, it's an interesting one. I think like I've always been interested in fashion. I think like it's not just about the way you present yourself, like gives a vibe, but also for me, like I'm a big believer in like look good, feel good.
Okay.
Like if I am dressed to the T, it's because I'm having a bad day and I need to like make myself feel better. And it's just something like I've always felt really drawn to, and like it's something that I use to express myself creatively. And it's something a lot of people have told me, oh my god, like I really like your style. And I'm like,
it's very you.
Yeah.
So you're not in like a bad, because like if you were to wear something, like you could be different things.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
And I think there was like, I don't remember what the brand was like. You know them like Jesus sandals basically.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wait, these are actually cute. Initially I was just like, when you see other Jesus sandals, I don't know why. This is the fashion. When I saw it, I said, and they look comfy. I feel like yours is also, you like comfort.
I do. Yeah, I'm a big like cozy comfort, but like chic type of girl. And I just really like fashion. I don't know, there isn't like a deep story to it at all. I just really gravitated. So I was like, let me do this on the side, denim company. That did not take off at all. I didn't go very far in that. I started sketching, but I never like went out to find anything. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. Then I was at the bank, like hating life, basically just being like, I hate this job, like I miss home, I want to go back to Nigeria. That's how I felt the whole time. And I was like, it was an interesting one because a lot of people were like, wow, you're so lucky, like you should be grateful and stuff, which is true. Like in hindsight, I'm so grateful for that experience. I think going through it at the time, I just felt like with those sorts of institutions, sometimes, not to sound really cliche, but sometimes it feels like there's only so far you can go. And like I said, I'm a big dreamer, and I was like, okay, getting this like mobile banking app is like great. It's like, oh, there's more to life than even just the UK, you know. So that was when I then started feeling like, okay, I need to do something else. And then I then transitioned into like doing the masters whilst I was working. That was like a big lesson in just like time management, discipline. Like if you want something, you actually have to create the time for it and stuff like that. Yeah, it was quite stressful. Like I went from like going out all the time to like my friends not seeing me, but also I think it also coincided with like me also, like I said, discovering my faith and just like prioritizing things differently, and really like walking with God. So that was a really, really like amazing experience for me, because I feel like that foundation of like building a really strong bond with God is great for when like hurdles come and storms come and you don't understand certain things. Like it's always worse if like those things happen and you don't even have a foundation or anything. So that was like the second stage of my adulthood. I think I was 24, doing all of that. Then it was like disappointments with not getting in to the things I wanted to get to, and like
that's a whole stage in itself, to be honest.
Like, for real, it was a big like mourning stage of like
the dreams.
Exactly, like dreams I once had and stuff. But like it was also really good for me because I then had to think, okay, if I'm not going to get into any of these schools, or if like I'm not going to get into a World Bank or UN, how am I still going to create impact for people on the ground? And that was when I then started to think about like production and like not just fashion in itself, but like the whole clothing industry and the fact that it actually like is a huge job generator. Like I think in the 80s, Nigeria's textiles industry was the second biggest employer in the country, from textile mills and all of that. Like people from Malaysia came to Nigeria to actually learn like certain like prints. Exactly. So I was just doing a lot of research and just discovering, okay, this thing that I like is actually like there's a lot to it and it's quite deep and it's something that I can use to like impact people's lives. So I just discovered that, and that was during like COVID. That was like when all of us didn't have anything to do.
That period.
That period of time. But it was really cool because like I said, I really then got to sit back and be like, okay, if I'm gonna apply for this master's, but if I don't get in, I'm gonna quit my job and move to Nigeria and like start a factory and like employ people and just like get into this industry and stuff like that. Then I happened to get into the program, and that was great because then I met, like we were saying, I met a lot of other like really big dreamers. And I think doing African studies was honestly one of the best experiences ever because you really learn the fundamentals of why the continent is the way it is, and like why certain industries have died out and stuff like that. So it really gave me like a very deep insight into like the way things are, and I think that sort of was preparing me to move back in a way. But again, it was all like theory, right? I never really had like
the practical element of it.
Yeah, exactly. I never really had like hands on deck experience in Lagos. So so then I started doing the masters. I was like one phase and I was like preparing for the MBA and everything. And then I happened to meet this person, like I think he was doing his PhD in African studies and I was doing my MSc. I went to like a group thing with friends and they were like, oh, this is this person and he has this company in Nigeria, blah, 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 all of that stuff. And it was like a meeting of, oh, we all care about Nigeria, like let's all like, chat
in Oxford as well, when I read like authors like Chimochiba or whatever, like just imagine the round table like Wale, Chirit, like all these scenes.
I'm
not the same, but like, do you know what I mean? It's just like just the minds gathering to talk about what they care about.
Exactly. That was. I mean, not Chimochiba, but something like that. Something like that, and I was sort of explaining the things I wanted to do, and it's so interesting because this guy had like such a different like viewpoints of things. So he had come from Harvard and he was like, yeah, okay, that's nice that you want to create impacts, but like the government is going to crush this, like just seriously, when you think about Nigeria, it's not like you can just come here and just set things up, especially things like with infrastructure, with like buildings and stuff. He's like, have you considered this? Have you considered that you might need to do XYZ? Have you considered like competitors? Have you considered like just figuring your way around? And I remember the first time I had a conversation with him, I was like, oh, this guy's a hater.
I was gonna say, because that's a big dreamer. There's nothing worse than, for me anyways, than seeing someone trying to make you realistic.
Literally.
That's not the point of dreaming.
Exactly.
Get with the program.
It's like, I'm gonna set up my factory anyway.
I'm gonna show you.
Exactly. But it was a big eye opener because again, like it started getting me thinking. And for some weird experience, like normally I would react to that sort of thing as like, get away, I'm not interested. But I feel like, I don't know, the meeting was very God ordained because it also, in life, like you need a balance, right? So you need to also be able to see like these are the challenges that are going to come up, and you need to be realistic and you need time to build your own muscle before like doing things. Like I can't even imagine if I did like go ahead and do the MBA at Oxford and then just come here and think I'm just going to set up.
They would shock you. You say I'm going back.
Exactly. So I was talking to him and he was like, why don't you come and like visit my office and like see what we do. So they are a tech startup and they basically do like point of sale, inventory management, payment processing and order management for restaurants in Africa. But it's not just like your high-end restaurants, it's like you're digitizing like bookers on the road and stuff like that. And those guys are using like pen and paper to like basically take their orders and manage, and they don't know where their money is like going. A lot of people steal from them and stuff. So it was really kind of interesting to see, okay, this also has like a social angle of like digitizing this industry. And like there's so many bookers and there's so many like, by bookers I mean like those like small
side of the road
type of thing. So, I went to go and visit. I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then he was like, okay, so can you start tomorrow?
Wait, what? So you had an interview that you didn't even know was an interview?
So that's why I met him in November, right? And then he was like, oh yeah, just come and check out the office in December when you're around for Christmas. I was like, yeah, sure. I went and then, showed me around, met everyone was great. And then he was like, yeah, like, so can you start tomorrow? And I was like, I have a degree. I know. I can't start tomorrow. And he was like, you can do it part-time. Like, why don't you like, make some money, like whilst you're like, at least a student and stuff like that. So I said, okay, when you put it that way, fair enough, because I am broke. I'm broke. I did quit my job. Yeah, I then started to see, okay, wow, this is what it's like to actually like build a company in Nigeria. I started working for them remotely, like helping out with the sales team, like helping figure out like product market fit, like ideal customer profiles, all of that stuff. And as I was doing it, it's so crazy, Lamide. Literally, as I was doing it, I was like, I think I want to defer my MBA. I had said this to myself. It's like, I think I want to defer my MBA and actually just like work in Nigeria for a year. Whether it's doing this or even figuring out my own thing, I just want to like work in Nigeria for a year. And then that guy is like, why don't you defer your MBA?
The Holy Spirit, boy. That's amazing.
Crazy. He was like, why don't you defer your MBA and work with us for a year? And I was like, wow, okay. So I really thought about it and I was like, yeah, I think this is pretty much like an answer to what I want to do. So I finished my degree and I deferred my MBA, moved back to Nigeria, started working with them full time. And as I was working, I just realized like, I might do an MBA at some point, right? Who knows? Like whenever. But I still feel like I'm getting so much value from the place I'm
on
in.
On the ground.
Yeah. Like, you don't realize how, like, Nigeria is a huge place and there can be so many bubbles. And just working here, like, I've realized, wow, I really need to step out of myself and understand how things operate. Like, even just in terms of like having a team where I'm paying people's salaries and stuff, like you get involved with their lives, like you start to understand, okay, this is how this person lives. Like liquidity is important to this person because like
they need it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's really like immersed me into like, I don't want to use the word impact, but actually just like, what it would take to really build something impactful and realizing that job creation in itself is like a huge, like impactful thing here. So it's been great. It's been really, really interesting. I think it's great because it's like mass market and like food transactions in Africa are like massive. Like everybody has to eat. Do you know what I mean? And if we're providing digital solutions from bookers all the way to like, I don't know, an Eric Kaiser, like, that is really, really huge. But I'm like, okay, I still need to like be cognizant of my own interests and like my own future ambitions and stuff and like get all the learning skills I can in building this place up to be like a really, really good institution and then like seeing what I want to do after.
That's so good because the it's as if I don't even know. It's as if he literally read my question, because the next question was about like your masters and stuff. What we've touched on it, which is really good. But then the question after that was like, what next? And obviously now you're working in more like the food industry and stuff. But your interest, would you want it to be about fashion or just like like what next really?
That is a great question. To be honest, like I feel like before I'd have been like 100% fashion. Like I'm gonna do XYZ. But you just never know where life takes you. Like, and I think I'm very open to that. I know that one thing that I will be doing is definitely something Africa-based and Nigeria-based, because I feel very like called to this region. But what exactly that would be, who knows? I could be like building another startup, like for someone of my own. I don't know, like. But I know definitely it would be in something that I know would create jobs for people in the country and some sort of digital solution to make people's lives easier, small businesses' lives like easier. I think that is where I would like want to, what I want to do after. Yeah.
That makes sense. And I think even with this, in terms of like what we've discussed, like your life stage and stuff, like. Two questions. Like, has the experience of working like in Nigeria and for like the year and knowing the actual people's life stories, has that affected your ability to dream big to an extent? And like, how do you actually like navigate just your life flowing like water, not really having like much control over it?
Funny enough, I feel like it's done the opposite.
Okay.
It's made me dream bigger.
Okay, good.
It's made me realize like as long as you have the resources to improve people's lives, Nigerians are very hardworking and like I know like there are a lot of horror stories about staffing here and just how like they're like you just can't trust anyone. But honestly, I've realized like as long as you're providing solutions to people's lives, like people that work for you and you're like paying them well, like there's actually a lot you can do in this country. So for me, it's made me dream bigger for sure. Yeah, I'd say
that's really good. And then the flowing, like your life just flowing in whatever direction. Like not even when you was thinking about what next. Like how do you deal with like not knowing?
Yeah, I still don't know. Because I'm a control freak. Like I honestly, but I'm having to just let go, and you realize that there is actually like it's nice to not know everything. I think for me, like outside of like work and stuff, like getting married, having kids, like that type of thing is probably around the corner for me, which is weird.
It's like I'm a kid expected to have
exactly. But that like next big life stage for me is probably that. Then you start to think, okay, I'm like, how am I going to make sure I'm a good parent? How am I going to make sure like I bring in like good human beings into this world and all of that stuff? And also like how do I make sure that my own children also dream big and like they have everything they need? So it's an interesting one, but I know that what I'm refusing to have is rigidity. I don't want to be rigid about where I think things will go. My flow is honestly just trusting God, because I couldn't have dreamt up like the job that I'm doing. I couldn't have dreamt up like even like the masters I ended up doing, like even the original idea of like factories and like job creation and stuff is not me. No, I was praying, the Holy Spirit told me, look at this, Google this, so I think I'm just gonna like keep trusting God and just see.
That's so good. And then just to like round up, two things I guess, like just tips for people looking to start something new, something intimidating, and like tips on following the path set before you, kind of like what you're saying in terms of like trusting. Well, let's say if that person is like religious, whatever, how can you actually trust that this is the way you should go when it may not make sense to other people? Like if you're telling people, after getting, I'm not staying in the UK anymore, I'm actually going back to like Nigeria, Lagos, like
I know what you mean. Okay, so for me, I think the biggest thing that a lot of people don't say, but I've realized is so important, is like build for someone else first.
Okay.
100%. Like, I think in our generation, we like, which is great. We feel like, oh my God, yeah, I can do this. Like, you know, I'll just Google and get stuff done. You have like 23-year-olds doing MBAs. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. But I think it's so important to build for someone first. Learn what it takes to build like something from scratch with someone, like be someone else's steward. Do you know what I mean? Because not only are you sowing a good seed of like getting like hopefully like karma, like getting other people to build your own dream for you, because building is not, you can't do it yourself. You honestly can't. It's the team. It's the team around you. It's the dedication, and it's also like your own experience in building. So I think 100%, like my advice to anyone that wants to do anything really big and ambitious first is build for someone first. And when you're trying to find the person to build for, don't necessarily look for someone who like your personality is your personality is matched with us.
Oh, bestie,
Trust me, like all of that stuff is like fluff. Like look for people that will challenge you. Look for people that will open your mind up. Look for people that will tell you as it is. And also look for people that have a clear vision for what they want. Because then you now see, okay, this is what it takes to have like a clear vision and then to execute.
And then for somebody like following a path that's uniquely theirs, what tips do you have for them?
I know this is so cliche, but honestly, just know why you're doing it. Like, why?
Never forget, actually remind yourself.
Why? And be like brutally honest with yourself. Are you doing this because you want to impress people?
It's real.
Are you doing it because you want to validate something in yourself?
Which is fair.
Which is fair. But know why you're doing it, because that why is what will carry you. If your why is not strong enough, there are going to be challenges that will just make you feel like, what's the point?
I think even with that, like, what came to mind is that you're allowed to change your mind.
100%. Of course, because I think your why is what will like guide you even when you change your mind. Like for me, I know my why, even though I've talked about fashion a lot, it's not necessarily my why. I know like my why is like impacting people's lives. And you can do that like with anything. So just know your why are you doing it, and just stay true to that. Be flexible as well. Be flexible and don't be scared of what people think. You know? Don't be scared that if you change. Don't be scared that if you change your mind, people will be like, what's this person doing? Because I had that fear a lot. Like I was like, oh my God, I've gone on Instagram and posted that I'm in Oxford, like researching fashion, and then I'm gonna come out like working in the food industry. Like it just makes no sense. It stressed me. It really, really stressed me. I just felt like, wow, my story makes no sense. I don't have any branding. Like
what? You're a human being. Why do you need branding? Don't get me wrong. Like not that I don't see the value in branding and stuff. Like when I think about what do I care about, and what do I want, not necessarily want to be known for, but it's like like what am I passionate about? Like education, youth, and community. So you could say, oh, like that's my brand and stuff. But girl or guy, obviously girl. But like I like life. Like I just feel like my brand is just to have fun, but also to be like thoughtful and curious and just like see what life can offer. And that can be in anything. And also just being like letting people. I just feel like we're all like birds waiting to fly. Or many people don't even know that they're birds or they have wings.
Or some people are chickens. Birds that cannot fly.
And then how can you still be a good chicken?
Exactly. Because to be honest, I think the chicken analogy is probably wrong. But like what I mean is some people are birds that have wings, but they don't even know that they have wings to fly.
That's what I mean,
They don't know that, there's more to life, you know? So definitely in life, it's so easy sometimes to limit yourself. But
like nobody else has told you that's not possible, but just because you don't think it is, like you don't even try. That's so good. Do you have any questions for me? Any final words?
No, I think this this was like so much fun. Like I hope I told a cohesive story.
I think you did. I think you told your story like you.
Yeah, because sometimes I think even myself I'm a bit confused. Like how did I end up here? But yeah, no, this was so much fun, and yeah, it's even got me thinking about what is my why, and like making sure I always stay true to it, and like enjoying building for someone else even when it's hard, or like when like you're not in the mood, but you signed up for it and stuff.
True.
So
being consistent even when you don't want to.
Yeah.
So good. So thank you for watching this episode of Adulting the Ghetto. I've been Lamide.
Desola.
And we hope to see you in the next one. You know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe.
Hit the subscribe button down there.
I'll follow all her DLs. Make sure you follow her. All of that.